Assalamu alaikum students. Today we are going to cover a very interesting as well as very important topic that actually encapsulates all the topics that have been previously covered in this course. So this is basically the total entrepreneurship being summarized in one nutshell. Today we are going to talk about business plan. First of all, we'll try to figure out the reasons for which we need to develop business plans. Then we'll explore the various elements of business plan, what lenders and investors would look into when they see your business plan, what elements would they be focusing upon, and how do we make business plan presentation and how do we conclude it. So what is a business plan? Have you heard this term before? Business plan, feasibility plan, feasibility analysis तो हम लोगों ने पढ़ा था ना?
Yes.
Remember that? There were three elements that we were trying to explore there: industry, product and financial feasibility. So that analysis is basically more like a litmus test. As of you do that on a smaller scale with very limited information that is available on hand. But when we are talking about business plan tends to be more comprehensive. It covers much more details as compared to what we have been analyzing during the feasibility analysis. So it is basically an entrepreneur's proposed business venture. So it would detail all the relevant elements that would be required to put together in order to run that business successfully. So it would also include the operational and financial details as of how that company is actually going to work. How is it going to secure its inputs, what processes, what individuals would be involved in it, how much financing would be involved in it, what would be the output, and how that output would be delivered to the customers, where we could expect a repetitive and a growing business. Its marketing opportunities and strategies, how we wish to approach our customers and win them. And not the least is your manager's skills and abilities. It's not a single manager, it's about your team that you usually club together to work together in order to make that business successful. So you need to be having a convincing set of individuals with remarkable CVs that indicate that these are the people who can actually see this plan through to success. So there are basically three tests that a business plan must pass. The first one is reality test. That is proving that a market really does exist for your product or service. You can actually build or provide it for a cost estimates in the plan. We had already mentioned it once or twice that not all the ideas are opportunities. You may come up with very creative ideas, but it is not necessary that each of those ideas is actually transformable into a real life business. So this reality check is done in order to establish whether the business is actually doable or not. Secondly, the competitive test. That is a company's position relative to its customer. The management's ability to create a company that will gain an edge over its rivals. This is the test that is going to push the entrepreneur to think over that what different he is doing from the existing competition. What additional value his products and services are offering that are beyond the limits of the current offerings in the market. And it's through that offering clarity he would be able to establish whether his business is competitive enough to compete in the market or is it a Me Too business. So what happens is when you go for Me Too businesses, yes, you may end up making some money, lekin you end up biting each other's share. And overall, in the long run, the profitability of those business tend to decline. So competitive test would establish that what additional value you are offering to your customer that is not being offered by your competitors. The value test, that is, a venture offers investor or lenders an attractive rate of return on high probability of repayment. The lenders would like the business to be secure, at least in documents, as of it is doable or not, if it is sustainable or not. Lenders, as we had discussed earlier, would be interested in getting all the loan back with the interest, and that they would like it to be happening in an uninterrupted way, whereby there are no high volatility in repayments. In case of investors, they may be little patient, whereby they may not ask you to give any return to them in, let's say, depending upon venture, first 6 months of couple of years maybe. But they would like to have a heavy return at the end of the day on the investments that they are willing to make with you in that venture. Ji.
Does any person's education affect the business plan?
It does. It does. For instance, if I was to run a high-tech lab, so I may be having funding, I may be having a great building, but I will be totally dependent upon someone like you who has that technical expertise, right? So your technical expertise would be essentials, but that would not be the only element that an investor would look into. He would also like to know, again, what extra you are offering apart from your competitors. How are you going to market your business differently? So all of these things come together, and then you come up with a solid business plan, right? Knowledge of employees is a great competitive edge in itself. We've got a whole theory in management sciences, we call it human capital theory, that states that knowledge, skills and abilities of the individuals are the major factor that could be proving a business to be different from its competition. Okay, Ji, why take the time to build a business plan? Although building a business plan does not guarantee success, it does increase your chances of succeeding in business. Coming up with a detailed business plan is not a guarantee. Kyunki maine plan bana liya hai, so there is no way I am going to fail. But what it helps is a plan is like a roadmap that serves as a guide on journey through unfamiliar, harsh and dangerous territory. Don't attempt the trip without a map. If we were to plan a trip, let's say to the northern areas, so before we set out our foot, or before we pull our car out of garage to move towards Gilgit, for instance, first of all, wouldn't we like to figure out that what possible routes are available, right? Which route is more challenging? Which route is more facilitative? You get to first gather such information, and after analyzing that and depending upon how adventurous you want the trip to be, you would choose that which way is better to be used for getting there. So in the same way, when you go for business planning, you may be getting so many different options in every single aspect of the business. Yet, you'll have to choose based upon some logic that which way you want to go. For instance, we had discussed these pricing strategies, for instance. So you will be having a choice of penetration strategy, for instance, or skimming strategy. So all the choices are available. But depending upon what information you have gathered, how you have clubbed it together, you would analyze it and decide that which particular strategy you want to pursue. एक और चीज़ here. I hope that this argument that I'm going to present now is also going to get substantiated later on in the presentation. Business plan would usually encompass all various aspects, how operation side, marketing side, your HR side, your strategy side. So when you club all of these functions together in one document, you tend to get the interrelation of various aspects of a business. You get to see them under one document. For instance, how it can be helpful. Let me quote one example. For instance, if I say that the business that I'm going to do, I'm going to involve direct sale guys for making sales, right? So if I say that I'll be hiring 20 individuals who will be trained for direct sales, so this expense or this strategy rather of marketing must be reflected in HR side of the business plan as well. That should indicate that in our HR plan we plan to have these many individuals for direct sales. This is the training that we are planning to give them. The same information will also get reflected in your finance side. When you go for profit and loss statement, the expense side must reflect the salaries that you propose to give to them. So this way you basically get to synchronize all the information that are relevant to various different departments, and when you sync them in, you get a more clearer picture as of if your business is actually feasible or not. So it also helps you to map out if you have missed any information in or any calculation while doing your business analysis and feasibility analysis. It also helps us as a strategic guide, as of the business plan would indicate where do you want to go, how are you going to get there, what are the market niches that you want to cater, how much is it going to cost, and if it is offering the greatest profit opportunity or not. Now let's look at the expectations of the audience for which we tend to develop business plan. Two possibilities. One is your lender. Lender is the one जो कि आपको कर्जा दे रहा है. He's not investor, right? Lender would, you present this business plan to a bank expecting, let's say, 4 million of worth of loan. So they would like to see the numbers, the assets that you have got, the plan that you have rolled out, and how they would be interested in knowing that how they are going to get their money back. So first of all, if you are already an existing business and you are going to expand your business, even in that case, for borrowing money, you need a business plan. The lender would be interested in knowing that how is your previous business record. That would kill your chances of getting any loan. और जो आपने loans पहले लिए हुए हैं, how good you have been at repaying them. Secondly, your current ability and the future ability to repay. If you are borrowing a lot and your business plan says that after installation of the new machinery it would at least take 1 year to get sales to an extent where they would be able to pay back the interest and the principal, the bank would be maybe interested in getting its money back from the very next month from the date it has actually lent you money. So that may crumble the whole model. Collateral. What is a collateral?
The loss that you're expecting.
That is collateral damage. Collateral is basically the property or the asset that you pledge with the bank against you which you secure loans. For instance, if I've got a property of say 10 million and I'm trying to secure a loan of 5 million, तो मुझे अपनी उस प्रॉपर्टी के कागज रहन रखवा के बैंक के पास मुझे वो लोन मिल सकता है. That is the collateral. So the bank would be interested in seeing what collateral you can offer. Let me give you an example. In trading organizations, even the store and all the content, all the inventory that is in store is offered as collateral to get more loans. Sometimes organization would offer their machinery as collateral to secure loans. Sometimes they may be interested in offering the land as collateral, which would be then in possession of, legally in possession of the bank, and it would only be able, it could only be sold later once all the repayment has been done. Investors' expectation. Now, investors would be the individuals who are going to give your cash, not loan, and they may look for equity, as was the case in the Shark Tank. They were the investors. So they would like to see, first of all, how competitive is your product. इसमें edge क्या है? Why would people buy your product over the existing products? Secondly, market कितनी बड़ी? They would also be interested in knowing the team that is claiming that they are going to pull it off, are they actually able enough? They would like to explore their backgrounds. They might like to contact their previous employers as of how effective they have been in their previous jobs. How you are going to market your products. And they would be very interested if you could offer them obscene level of return. And last but not the least, exit strategy. That once your business is successful, whether you wish to continue it for the rest of your life, or there could be few options that we are going to discuss later, that what could be the possible exit strategies. And entrepreneurs do start businesses, just to give you a recap, to capitalize on an invention. They might do it for pursuing their passion, for independence, autonomy, or my favorite, to get rich. Right जी, exit strategies की हम लोग बात कर रहे थे. Once the business has been proved successful, if it is running on a good basis, generating revenues and profits, there are few options that could be done to get rid of that business. First of all, you could sell the business. There are few entrepreneurs, by the way, who specialize in starting new business, getting them to a maturity level whereby they are stable, and they would sell it for hefty amounts. And with that capital, they would start another business in some other industry. Transferring your business to a family member. Or you plan big and play big. You go to stock exchange. Get your shares offered on the stock exchange and raise huge capital to expand your business further. Or be acquired by a larger firm. And usually you know what happens, entrepreneurial firms, when they get taken over by the larger firms, at times they tend to keep the entrepreneurs as intrapreneurs, and they are offered salaries and good benefits so that they can keep working with the same passion for that business. So what are the possible funding sources? You could use your savings, you could get money from friends and family, and fools possibly, financial institutions and banks, angel investors. Sharks were the angel investors, and they are venture capital firms, whereby these firms actually specialize in investing in new startups. Business plan content G. Your business plan document would usually include the cover, executive summary, company description, product services description, industry overview, market analysis, details of the competitors, customers, marketing, sales plans, the development of the business, operations, management, personnel, that would be the HR side of your business, financial summary, financials, offerings, and extra documents that would be pinned in the appendix section. Cover page, it should contain, first of all, it needs to be very decently formatted. It must include your company name, your punchline with which you are operating, the contact person. Agar business plan ke context mein, if someone wishes to contact you, whom he is going to contact, the address of the business, the contact detail, disclaimer. What would be the disclaimer? Disclaimer would be a statement whereby the recipient of this business plan would agree that he is not going to share any of the information of this document to anyone. Otherwise तो देखिए ना किसी के पास बिजनेस प्लान आए वो उसकी कॉपियां करके चार बंदों को यार ये देखो ये बंदा ये कर रहा है. So this could be a very useful information for the competitors, whereby if they get hold of such document, they can easily map out that what are you up to. And it would also include the copy number. Depending upon how many different investors you have approached, you can always add the copy number in that. Executive summary ji. It is a basically mini business plan in 1 or 2 pages. It is actually summary of the whole document. What the other sections would be detailing in few pages, you are going to summarize the very crux of, let's say, marketing, operations, HR, strategy in small paragraphs and try to summarize the whole business plan in 1 or 2 pages. It is basically not an introduction to plan, and it must grab your reader's attention. The linguistically, it should be very strong. And again, remember that business sales pitch that we were talking about? You need to have catchy statement that would grab the attention of the reader. It must identify the company, its background, structure and location, and it also should describe what the company actually does and the markets that it serves. It must also highlight the potential for company's products, services and market trends. And when you say market trends, you're basically indicating towards usage of statistics or the secondary data that is already available to complement your business plan. I came across this interesting idea whereby that person was vouching that because of increase in intolerance, the divorce rate has skyrocketed. Couples getting divorced after 2 months of marriage, 6 months, 2 years, single moms with kids. Based on all those statistics, he was actually thinking to launch a new service and website called dusrishadi.com. Sounds funny? But there is a growing target market for that audience that he wished to target. And he would not just focus on getting them married second time. Rather, he wanted to come up with multiple service whereby he was ready to offer counseling services and matchmaking apart from the post-marriage counseling as well, to keep both the spouses in somehow tied up in a way. So basically, using the existing statistics that could be easily could have been gotten through the city codes, जहाँ पे आपकी सारी divorce वगैरह handle होती है, तो you could easily extract some information, and based on those information, you can come up with the trends on which you can pitch your businesses to the potential lenders and investors. Then you have got a company overview, which would basically include your mission statement, location, the size of the firm, and the history. कि क्यों ये काम क्यों किया जा रहा है. The market and the products, overview of company capabilities, what uniqueness it carries, that would keep it abreast of its competitors, and what are basically the objectives of the firms. Then the next section would detail the products and services that are being offered by the firm. With regards to the product, what do they do? What are their uniquenesses? And what are the competitive advantages that a firm is enjoying over its competitors? If you have got some unique technology, you could briefly describe that technology and detail their possible applications. If you have come up with a new technology altogether based on your R&D, you could probably mention the status of your patent application and to what extent that has been commercialized. And in an industry overview, you basically set the stage. You describe the very industry and the market in which you are going to operate. And you do that by explaining the major players of the industry. And you do not ignore the smaller players as well. If you miss any of them, the reader would say कि यार इस बंदे का analysis ठीक नहीं है industry का. And even based on this very argument, your expectation of getting loan or some investment may be rejected. What are the factors that are driving that industry? What are the new product development trends in that particular industry? And you could relate your previous product offerings with this piece of information, whereby you establish that based on these trends in this industry, our products are good enough to cater the needs of the customers. What is the legislation and policies that are driving the industry, right? If you're into food industry, you would not like to ignore, particularly if you're going to do your business in Punjab, you cannot ignore Punjab Food Authority. The legislation is getting tightened with every single day, with every passing day. What have been the historical trends and what are the future trends of that industry? In market analysis, you tend to define what your market is. Primary market and the secondary market. क्या होती है जी primary market और secondary market? Take example of cars. New Toyota cars being sold by its dealers is the primary market. The used Toyota cars in which the original Toyota is not involved in the transaction, that is the secondary market. बात समझ आई आपको कि नहीं?
Yes, sir.
Market size and trends. को total current revenues क्या है and predicted annual growth क्या है? Competitors जी, who are they? What are their sizes? What are the product offerings that they're offering? What are their revenues and profitability, if you can get some information on that? What are their strengths and what are their weaknesses? And if you could get information, you could build a pie chart just explaining that which competitor carries what percentage of the market share. And you would also like to highlight the indirect competitors. Customers जी. Here you would describe various characteristics of the customers. Who are they? Why do they buy this particular product? What need is satisfied by this particular product? How is this need being currently filled? What are the alternatives that are available? Who makes the decision to buy this product? Do you know the difference between customer and consumer?
So customers can be like Toyota dealers can be customers of Toyota, and the consumers are the people buying them and using them. Consumers buying consumers.
How many of us actually go to market to buy soaps? So basically, the person who is buying soap for your household is the customer. And you, the one who is using that product, is the consumer. And it may not necessarily be always the consumer's discretion whether to which product to buy. So at times the businesses are very smart that they would rather focus on the customer who actually carries the cash. So they would like to influence the decision criteria or the decision behavior of the customer rather than consumer. Or else there could be an alternate strategy whereby you focus on the consumers who would in turn influence the customers. Safeguard. They influence kids who then ask their mothers or for parents to get safeguards so that they can stay bacteria free. And how frequent the purchase of your product is. In your marketing and sale plans, you come up with statement of opportunity, that what particular market opportunity is available there, what are your marketing and sales objectives, what are the existing customers, and who are the possible potential customers of your product. Then you detail your product or service strategy, pricing strategy, distribution strategy, whereby how you're going to make sure the availability of the product to the very customer who is going to make the buying, how are you going to advertise and promote your business, what would be your sales strategy, and it may also be followed by your marketing and sales forecasts. And your market programs may include direct mail. You may like to introduce your products via trade shows, through advertising, internet publicity or PR, and you would also like to mention the amount of budget that you are ready to spare for marketing. And it would also include your pricing, that what is the basis for your targeted price point, and what are the margins and profitability by volume levels. In sales plan, you basically describe sales force structure, expectations or the quotas, margins that are given to intermediaries, जो wholesalers हैं आपको उनको कितने % मिलेगा, services and warranties that are being offered, sales budget that you have allocated, and organizational chart indicating planned growth. If you are carrying an R&D department, then you need to mention that as well, because that could be a very advantageous thing for the business plan. In R&D plan, again, you describe the objectives, what are the milestones that have been achieved, and what is the current status. What are the challenges that are being faced in R&D, the staffing that you have done for R&D, and budget and assumption. R&D assumptions क्या होंगी here? For instance, if you are working on particular 2 or 3 projects, so you are basically involved in those projects with an anticipation that you are expecting certain results, so they would be the assumptions that we are expecting that in coming 2 years we'll come up with a drug or we'll come up with an alternate for this product based on our current research. Now this is again a very interesting component of business plan, that is the operation. Now this part of business plan basically describes how the organization is going to work. It would describe your manufacturing and production plan, objective, facilities, what factories would be needed, what houses would be needed, what retail outlets would be needed are going to be detailed here. The subcontractors that are going to be used, where you are going to outsource your various functions of the business if you are considering it, how you are going to ensure the quality control of the business, of the products, and your budget for the operational expenses. It will be followed by description of the company management, and it would basically describe the core team that you have clubbed together to make this business successful. इसमें you'll detail the organizational chart, describe the various team members with their CVs, and you would also like to mention the administrative expense that you expect to incur. And possibly this could be a sample management team, president, VP finance, VP sales, marketing, manufacturing, and board of advisors. The HR side, the personnel side, it would again describe the staffing objectives, describe the organizational chart, the growth plan of the HR, and the budget that is required for human resources. Next section would be the summary of financials. That would include your cash flow statement. First of all, what time the business is expected to take to make the cash flows positive, whereby the inflow of cash is more than the outflow of the cash from the business. Secondly, how long would it take the business to be profitable. It would also include financial assumptions. Financial assumptions क्या होंगे जी? For instance, we expect कि in coming 2 to 3 years, the interest rates would be at this much level. So based on this projection, we are expecting कि हम लोग इतना लोन लेंगे और उसके ऊपर हम लोग इतनी इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट करेंगे. The capital requirement, पैसा कितना चाहिए, and the exit scenario. And in typical financial part of business plan, we make pro forma cash flow projections, pro forma profit and loss statements, pro forma balance sheet. Pro forma means that you are basically going to assume that what assets that you are going to acquire, what expenses you are going to incur, and you tend to make, let's say, profit and loss statement for next 3 or 5 years, with assumption-based increase in sales and accordingly the relevant expenses that are to be incurred. And then you detail your offering. Investment requirements क्या हैं? Pro forma valuation of business क्या है? And what exactly are you offering? Let's get sorted. We are almost done. And the appendices section may include the resumes of key management. If you have got some patent registered, you can detail that. Your current customer list, the testimonials. अगर आपने financial spreadsheets ज़्यादा detailed बनाई हुई हैं, you can add them here, and references just in case. Now there are a few guidelines that are to be taken into consideration while preparing for the business plan. This is an exercise that you must do yourself. Because if you ask someone else to make it for you, they may not necessarily have all the insight that needs to be reflected in the document. Focus on financial projections, but do not undermine the strategies that are required to be executed to reach those financial objectives. मैं एक साल के अंदर sales को 60 लाख तक लेके जाऊंगा. Yeah, it sounds like a good figure, but how do I do that? Lenders and investors would be keen to hear that story. Show how you plan to set your business apart from the competitors. Do not fall into the Me Too trap. We have already discussed this thing. Identify your target market and offer evidence that customers for your product or services exist. dusrishadi.com. Make sure your plan has an attractive cover. Spelling and grammatical mistakes are a big killer. Make your plan visually appealing. You may use textured or colored papers, or wherever possible add graphs and colored printing. Include a table of content that would facilitate the browsing of your document, and make it interesting. Your plan must prove that the business will make money. ज़रूरी नहीं कि अगले दिन से ही, but ultimately the conclusion that one could draw or the reader could draw should be कि business जो है वो पैसा बनाएगा. Spreadsheets, that are the Excel sheets that could be used, उनको आप detail में जितना जाएंगे उतना ज़्यादा confidence आता है लोगों को, यार इसने बहुत ज़्यादा बारीकी से ये काम जो उसने planning की हुई है. Use cash flow projections. Keep your plan crisp, between 25 and 50 pages long. Stale literature अंदर डालने की ज़रूरत नहीं. And tell the truth. And that would conclude our business plan. Thank you so very much.